My child, if what is keeping you awake tonight is not today, but tomorrow that has not yet arrived, if what is pressing down on your heart is not something that has happened, but things that have not happened and yet have already frightened you into exhaustion, then please do not leave just yet. Because there is a kind of weariness that does not come from the past. It comes from the future. Not from what has happened, but from what might happen. Not from one real event standing right in front of you, but from hundreds of scenarios your heart has quietly built in the dark. And if you are exactly inside that kind of exhaustion, then tonight I want to sit with you. Not to scold you for worrying so much, not to say a few soft things and move on, but to go all the way down into that fear itself, the place where you most need to be held. My child, I know there are people who still live normally during the day. They still go to work, still smile, still talk, still try to fulfill their responsibilities like everyone else. But the moment night falls, the moment everything slows down, their heart begins to feel heavy. Not because something huge happened today, but because tomorrow has not yet come. They are afraid of the call that has not come yet, afraid of the result that has not arrived yet, afraid of the door that has not opened, afraid of the bad thing that has not happened, afraid someone will change, afraid they will not make it in time, afraid they will not be strong enough, afraid they will have to step into something they do not want to face. They lie there, and their mind refuses to let them rest. It pulls them away from the bed, away from the room, away from the present, and throws them into days that have not yet come. And my child, what exhausts you is not always reality. Many times it is the fact that your heart has lived too long inside things that have not happened yet. I know that feeling. The feeling of a tomorrow that has no clear shape and yet is heavy enough to press against your chest. The feeling that there is a cloud hanging somewhere ahead, and you do not know whether it will rain or not, but simply seeing it is enough to make you uneasy. There are people who are not as afraid of the present as they are of the future. Their present may not yet be collapsing, but because they have already been hurt, already lost, already been taken by surprise, already disappointed, already unable to hold on to something precious, they no longer look at tomorrow with innocence. They look at tomorrow with caution. They look at the future with a heart that has learned to worry ahead of time, so that it might hurt less later. They think that if they imagine enough worst-case scenarios, then when something actually happens, they will not be as shocked. If they worry far enough ahead, maybe they will be able to control at least a little. But my child, you are not truly resting when you live like that. You are simply growing more tired while tomorrow has not even arrived. There are people hearing these words today who are carrying exactly that kind of weariness. They no longer find peace in phrases like, "Tomorrow will be okay," because they have heard them too many times. What they need is not one more soft sentence meant to calm them for a moment. What they need is someone who understands why simply thinking about tomorrow is enough to make their heart feel heavy. Someone who understands why something that has not even happened yet can make them feel as though they have already gone through a storm. Someone who understands why there are nights when they have not lost anything, and yet their heart feels as though it is preparing for loss. And I understand. I know that this is not small. I know there are people carrying nervous systems that have lived too long in alertness, to the point that every future feels like something they must brace themselves for. My child, what exhausts you is not only what may be coming, It is the feeling that you will have to face what is coming by yourself. That is the root of many fears. If you truly believed you would not walk into tomorrow alone, tomorrow would feel far less frightening. But perhaps deep inside, you have become too used to managing everything by yourself, calculating by yourself, comforting yourself, holding yourself together, that every time you think about the future, you do not only see the unknown, you also see aloneness. You are not only afraid of the event itself, you are afraid of having to carry it alone. You are not only afraid of a door closing, you are afraid that if it does close, you will not know how to stand back up. You are not only afraid someone will change, you are afraid that if they do, you will once again have to gather your own heart back together. I know. And I want you to see this clearly. Many of your fears are not simply fears about what may happen. They are fears about having to suffer through what may happen alone. And that is exactly the place that is tiring you the most. Not because you are too weak to face the future, but because for too long you have lived as though everything must be carried by you alone. There are people who are not only afraid of tomorrow, they are afraid of the version of themselves inside tomorrow, alone, exhausted, misunderstood, unsupported, not knowing what to hold on to. So even tonight, they have already begun to ache for that version of themselves. You are not tired because of tomorrow. You are tired because you have already lived too many tomorrows inside your mind. You have walked into rooms that have not opened yet. You have trembled before conversations that have not happened yet. You have grown weary over outcomes that do not yet exist. And in doing so, the peace of today has been emptied out by a future that has not even appeared. Perhaps you are worried about money. Perhaps you are worried about work. Perhaps you are worried about your health, your family, your relationship, an unclear future, or decisions you do not know whether you are wise enough to make. Perhaps you are standing at a crossroads where every path makes you uneasy. Perhaps you are waiting for an answer that has not yet come, and until it does, your heart will not settle. Perhaps you are hearing these words during a season when nothing has completely fallen apart yet, but you know this much. It would take only one more thing for you to feel overwhelmed. I know that way of living, the kind of living in which you are not truly inside today, because a large part of you is already worrying about tomorrow. And the more you worry, the more tired you become. The more tired you become, the less clear your thinking is. The less clear your thinking is, the more you fear that you will not be able to handle what is ahead. And then you worry even more. This is how you get pulled into a cycle. Even you do not know how to stop. My child, I do not blame you for fearing tomorrow, because I know there are people who were not born like this. They learned it through pain. They became this way after too many times of being blindsided by life. Perhaps you once thought something would turn out well, and it did not. Perhaps you once believed someone would stay, and they changed. Perhaps you once thought you could handle it, and then there came a moment when you truly could not. Perhaps you once walked into a very ordinary day, and by nightfall, your life no longer felt the same. Things like that teach the heart a very exhausting habit. Always prepare for the worst. Always think ahead. Always guard yourself. And then, even when nothing has happened yet, your heart no longer knows how to relax. But my child, preparation and anxiety are not the same thing. Living responsibly and living in fear are not the same thing. There are people who think that if they stop worrying, they are being careless. If they stop thinking about the future, they are being irresponsible. If they are able to sleep, they must be neglecting their life. But no, anxiety is not proof of maturity. Sleeplessness is not proof of responsibility. Tension is not proof that you are living faithfully. Some people drag all of tomorrow into bed with them just to prove to themselves that they care. But the result is that they become exhausted before tomorrow even arrives. Rest is not surrender. Anxiety is not responsibility. You do not need to spend the peace of today as an advance payment for things that have not even happened. I want to ask you something very gently. How many things have you feared in the past that never happened the way you imagined they would? And even among the things that did happen, how many were things you thought you would never survive, and yet somehow you did? I am not asking to dismiss your fear right now. I am asking to remind you that fear is very skilled at making the future look bigger than you. But the truth is that you have already been carried through many days that looked impossible. There were times when you thought you would not be able to bear it. There were times when you thought everything was over. There were times when you believed you had no strength left to go on. Yet here you still are, not because you were stronger than everything, but because even when you could not see me, I was still with you through those places. My beloved, perhaps the words you most need to hear tonight are these: you do not have to solve tomorrow tonight. I will say it again. You do not have to solve tomorrow tonight. You do not have to think through every possible outcome. You do not have to emotionally prepare yourself for every ending. You do not have to drain yourself because of a future that has not arrived. There are things that tomorrow can only be met with tomorrow's strength, tomorrow's light, tomorrow's grace. But you keep trying to live tomorrow before it comes, and that is why today feels so heavy. I know there are people lying in bed tonight whose heart is already sitting inside tomorrow's meeting, inside a phone call that has not come, inside a result they do not yet know, inside a sorrow that has not happened, inside a disaster that has not taken shape. They have used all the energy of the present trying to live in what has not yet come. And then they ask themselves why they feel so exhausted. I want to say this more clearly still. Tomorrow needs tomorrow's grace, not tonight's exhaustion. Your tiredness does not make the future safer. It only leaves you weaker when you actually arrive there. Some people think that if they stay tense long enough, they will somehow be ready for anything. But my child, tension is not a magical shield. It is only a price your heart is paying too early. I do not want you to live as though peace is something you are only allowed to have once every danger is gone. I want you to learn to receive peace as a gift, even in the middle of uncertainty. My child, what makes tomorrow frightening is not only that it is unclear, it is also that you are trying to walk into it without really allowing me to go with you. Perhaps you still pray. Perhaps you still believe in me. But deep inside, you are still holding on to control. You still want to measure, calculate, check, manage, and hold everything yourself. You still feel as though you need to see at least part of the path clearly before your heart can settle. I understand that. Human beings always feel safer with what they can measure. But how many of the most important things in life can you actually measure? Love, the changing of someone's heart, the right timing, the right path, opportunity, healing, rescue, protection. These are often things you cannot grasp fully, and yet you must still walk forward. If you wait until everything is clear before allowing yourself peace, you will wait a very long time. But if you learn how to have peace before you see everything, that is when your heart begins to rest. I am not telling you that tomorrow will definitely be easy. I am not saying that nothing painful will ever happen again. I am not even promising that the future will always unfold according to what you hoped. But I am telling you something surer than all of that. You will not walk into tomorrow alone. I was there before you. Before you touch it, I am already in it. Before you see it, I have already seen it. Before you fear it, I already know what it will hold. And if I am already in tomorrow before you, then what you need is not to exhaust yourself trying to control it. What you need is to learn how to trust that there is one who goes before you. There are people so afraid of the future that the present is stolen from them. They can no longer truly enjoy a meal today because they are already anxious about something next week. They can no longer receive one quiet, peaceful moment today because they are already bracing for some storm that may come next month. They can no longer feel the goodness that is actually here because their heart is suspended over some possible disaster ahead. That is deeply exhausting, my child, and deeply sad, because fear of the future does not only steal tomorrow, it steals today too. An anxious future can steal a present that might otherwise have held peace. I do not want fear of tomorrow to continue devouring your present. Do you know what you may need most? Not to know the whole future, but enough peace to live one day at a time. That is such an ordinary lesson, and yet such a deep one. One day, just one day, not the whole month, not the whole year, not 10 worst-case scenarios at once. Just today. Just today's tasks. Just today's sorrow. Just today's grace. Many people are exhausted not because one burden is too great, but because they are trying to carry too many days all at once. They place next week on their chest, next month inside their mind, next year inside their nervous system. And then they wonder why they cannot breathe. But my child, I have never asked you to carry your whole life inside one night. I know that sometimes you think you are being responsible. But what is really happening is that you are using worry to maintain a feeling of control. And I do not say that to make you feel worse. I say it so you can see clearly. Because when you see clearly, you begin to understand what you truly need. You do not need more anxiety. You need more trust. You do not need more spiraling thoughts. You need more presence. You do not need more control. You need more rest in me. Some things do not change because you think harder about them. They change when it is time for them to change. And the things you truly do need to do, I will give you strength for when that moment comes. But tonight, before that time arrives, your work is not to torment yourself with thoughts. My beloved, listen to what your fear is saying. It says, what if something bad happens? What if I am not strong enough? What if I am disappointed again? What if I lose this? What if that person changes? And what do I say? I say, if that happens, I will still be there. If you are not strong enough, I will still be your strength. If you are disappointed, I will still help you stand again. If you lose something, you still will not lose me. If people change, I do not change. Do you see it? Fear places all of its focus on the event. I place the focus on my presence inside the event. Fear makes you stare at what might happen. I draw your eyes back to the one who will be with you if it does happen. That is a profound difference. Because what you often cannot bear is not even the event itself. It is the feeling that there will be no one with you inside it. But I am here, and I will still be there. Your mind is not attacking you because you are weak. It is only exhausted from trying to protect a heart that has already been hurt too many times. I want you to remember that sentence so that from now on, you may be less angry with yourself. So that when your thoughts start racing again, you do not immediately condemn yourself, but instead pause and say, I am very tired, and I need to be held, not judged. My child, perhaps tonight you cannot let go of everything all at once. That is all right. I am not asking you to release it all in one moment. I am only inviting you to loosen your grip a little. Release what cannot be solved tonight. Release what does not yet have an answer. Release what has not yet become yours to carry. Release the demand that you must understand everything. Release the habit of believing that you must control in order to feel safe. Be honest with me and say, I am afraid of tomorrow. That alone is enough. Many people pray beautifully, but not honestly. I do not need that. I need a real heart. A heart real enough to admit its fear. And when you are that real before me, healing can begin. I want you to remember something else. Fear of the future is not your identity. It may be your condition right now, but it is not your true name. You were not created to live in alarm forever. You are not someone who was born only to worry and wait for disaster. You are not a soul destined for unrest. This may be a season in which you are learning how to trust more deeply, more slowly, more honestly. But do not use this season to name your whole life. Do not say, I am someone who always worries. Say something truer. I am someone who is tired and is learning how to hand things over. The way you name yourself matters. Because if you keep naming yourself by your fear, sooner or later you will begin to live as though fear is who you are. Do you know why I want you to rest? Not only because I have compassion on your exhaustion, but because a rested heart hears me more clearly. A nervous system that has been allowed to settle can better discern what is fear and what is truth. A soul no longer being dragged too far into tomorrow can begin to notice that I am already present in today. So rest is not laziness. Rest is wisdom. Rest is trust made visible in the body. Rest is the very honest confession that says, I am not the one holding this whole future together. Rest is giving my place back to me. Perhaps tonight's sleep will not come immediately. That is all right. I am not impatient with you. I am not irritated because your mind is still loud. I do not turn away just because your heart is not calm right after hearing these words. I will stay. Just like this. Very near. Nearer even than the fear speaking inside your head. And perhaps the first thing I do is not remove all of your worry at once. Perhaps the first thing I do is make sure your worry is no longer sitting with you by itself. So that when fear says, tomorrow will be terrible, you are no longer hearing it alone. So that when your heart trembles, it no longer trembles in solitude. So that when you still do not know what is waiting ahead, at least you know one certain thing. I am still here. So now, be a little gentler with yourself. Do not force yourself to figure everything out before you sleep. Do not demand perfect clarity from yourself when your nervous system is overloaded. Do not condemn yourself because you are still afraid. Just lay your head down. Just breathe. Just remain with me in this night. Only this night. And if tomorrow still holds difficult things, I will give you strength for tomorrow. You do not need to use all of today's strength to live ahead into what has not yet arrived. Listen to me say this one last time, slowly. You do not have to solve tomorrow tonight. What has not come, do not live ahead of it. What has not happened, do not ache ahead of it. What has not opened, do not close your own heart because of it. What is still unclear, do not